I'm here with John Kincaid, Moffat County Commissioner. John, welcome. Thanks for being with us. Tell us a little bit about what you hope happens tonight and the impact that this kind of a meeting could have for our community.
Well, this is a pivotal time for our community. It's a pivotal time for our county, and really it's a pivotal time for our nation as the war on coal continues to march on, trying to diminish the role of fossil fuels in our way of life, and quite frankly, I think the war on coal is a war on prosperity, and certainly here in Moffat County, we experience it every day. The stress that's been put on our community and our area, our county, is great, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm hoping that at tonight's meeting, first of all, we'll have just a great attendance, just a huge turnout, and that we each take time to stand up for Trapper Mine, to stand up for Kalawao Mine, and to stand up for Tri-State, and to stand up for our way of life, because that's what we're fighting for tonight. We're fighting for our way of life. We're fighting for our future and our prosperity, our children and our grandchildren. I just encourage everyone to get involved and participate, and together we can make a difference. We will make a difference.
John, I really appreciate everything you're doing as a Moffat County Commissioner, and I know the people of our community do as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is MOFFATCOUNTYPROUD.COM.
Welcome to your 2016 community meeting, a meeting hosted by the Kalawao and Trapper Mine. My name is Ray Beck. I am the mayor of Craig. Before we get started, I'm going to ask Johnny Garcia, Army veteran and commander of the VFW, along with Jeremy Looper, who is also a veteran of the Boy Scouts of America, to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take just a few minutes to recognize some of the folks that helped organize this event. And as you all know, anytime you organize the event, it takes people behind the scenes to do so, and this event is no different than any other. I'd like to recognize Chris Oxley and the Craig Chamber. You guys will hold your applause till I get through reading the list. Yampa Valley Young Professionals, Kirsten McPherson, Derek Duran, Brandon Meek, and Autumn Tatum. I'd also like to recognize Dixie Hatfield and the high school staff. I'd like to recognize Shirley Belly, Flower Mine, Jensen Custom Builders, who did the framework for the banner behind us. And I'd also like to recognize Terry Carwell for all his efforts, tireless efforts in helping organize this event. Let's give him a round of applause. This is a community meeting hosted by Trapper and Kalawao. It also impacts the region. And I can't go through and name them all. I probably missed somebody. So if you're an elected official, whether you're a county or city, and you're here representing Moffat County or the city of Craig, Rio Blanco or Steamboat, or Rock County, or any of those within the three-county region, would you please stand? Thank you. No matter where we go, or who you talk to these days, common topics of conversation are the jobs and the economy. Communities on the western slope like Craig and Moffat County have not yet recovered from the recession of 2008 and 2009. Every time we think we might be turning the corner, we get hammered with new rules and regulations being handed down by the federal government and the EPA. Last year, this community was turned upside down, from outside sources attacking our quality way of life, and unfortunately, this seems to be the new normal. Honestly, I don't see the war on coal going away anytime soon. Having said that, tonight we need to focus on what we have, who we are, and where we want to end up. Moffat County, being the second largest county in the state of Colorado, in landmass, is surrounded with as much access to public lands as any other county in the state with abundant wildlife. We are an extraction county, a community that depends on energy, recreation, agriculture, and tourism to support our local economy and our quality way of life. We are a community when things seem to be bleak and fear and anxiety starts to creep in. We are the same community that rises to the occasion, no matter what the occasion is. Whether it be a community member who has been diagnosed with a terminal disease, a family who has lost a loved one, or a family that has lost a home due to a fire, we always step up to show and give support. We are a community who is proud of who we are, and a community that is resilient, and we will not be stepped on, brought down, or destroyed by others who seem to think that keeping coal in the ground is somehow an answer to solving the nation's climate change and making for a better environment. We are not the problem, but we are the solution to a more vibrant economy, not just for Northwest Colorado, but for the entire nation. We will not cave, we will not stand down, and we will not give up on our coal mines or our coal miners. If you're a coal miner, and you're here tonight, whether past and present, would you please stand? Thank you guys, and thank you for all you do. Right now, our biggest challenge is our local economy. Because we are a community and a county that is supported by recreation, agriculture, tourism, and energy, we collect city, county sales tax, and property taxes to support our general fund and help pay for services, pay our employees, help maintain our infrastructure. Between Colorado and Trapper Mine, they employ right at 400 direct jobs and at least 2.5 times that many more indirect jobs. Besides oil and gas exploration and production, we depend on mining of coal and the coal-fired power plant, which is and has been providing clean and affordable electricity since the late 1970s and will continue to do so in the future. We already have clean air and blue skies here in Northwest Colorado, and we would invite anyone to visit our coal mines and see for themselves the operations and reclamations to private and federal lands that have been implemented over the years, and in both cases received recognition for their efforts. The economic benefits to Moffat County and Craig because the Trapper Mine is more than $22 million in wages and benefits for its employees, more than $10 million in local, state, and federal taxes and royalties, and nearly $30 million in products and services, most of which is spent locally. The Colorado Mine has a total direct and indirect impact to our Tri-County region of $164.9 million in total output. Broken down, that is $102.3 million in direct output plus $62.6 million in indirect and induced output, which is contributed to from the 220 direct Colorado employees, and it includes 418 indirect employees. In summary, these two coal mines for decades have provided affordable energy across much of the western United States with good paying jobs to hundreds of families and provided critical benefits to our northwestern Colorado community. Each and every day, hundreds of families, businesses, schools, and farms rely on clean, low-cost energy created by Colorado and Trapper Mine. Their coal is low in sulfur, mercury, and has a BTU rating higher than most other coal in the nation. Your county and city elected officials have and will continue to provide comments to Office of Surface Mining on behalf of Colorado and Trapper Mines. In fact, the Craig City Council all signed letters showing their support at last night's City Council meeting and has submitted those comments to OSM. I also want to make sure that all of you know how to get involved and make your voices heard. Hopefully you've heard the radio advertisements, or maybe you have seen the newspaper ads for supportnorthwestcolorado.com. Or maybe this wasn't the first time you have seen the videos that were playing before we started this event this evening. Hopefully you have indeed visited the website, viewed the videos, and seen the communities, organizations, and businesses that are supporting this effort. This website will allow you to easily make comments on the environmental analysis currently out to public comment for both the Colorado and Trapper Mines. It takes just a few minutes and it's easy to do. For those of you who have not been able to access the website, let me give you a little background and tell you what we are trying to accomplish. A few months ago, a group of us from Moffat and Rio Blanco counties got together to discuss how we can support energy production in the region and, more importantly, educate others outside the region on how important the power plant and the mines are to not just Northwest Colorado, but to the entire state of Colorado. As we face challenges like the Clean Power Plant, lawsuits against our mines, and ongoing campaign to reduce coal and oil and gas development on federal lands, we need those outside the region to know our story and our perspective. With input from many of you in this room, we came up with the theme, We Can. As in, we can sustain our economy, we can protect the environment, and we can have a positive impact on our future. Initially, we want to educate people on the value of coal mining in the region and encourage the support of Colorado and Trapper mines. But long term, we want to show the need and benefits of energy production in northwest Colorado, even as the nation reduces greenhouse gas emissions. You see, even under the Clean Power Plan, coal-fired electric generation will play an important role, but there will be winners and losers when it comes to individual power plants and coal mines. Ultimately, what we need to convey to policymakers in Denver and Washington, D.C. is that Craig Station and our mines are winners. They are clean, they are responsible, and they do provide critical electricity to hundreds of thousands of homes. This is what the support of Northwest Colorado is all about. If you haven't already, I encourage you to visit the site or stop by the booth in the lobby after the meeting this evening and learn more. If we speak with one voice, we can make a difference. If we are going to remain a vibrant community, we must. The population here in Moffat County is right at 13,000. This evening, I am challenging this community to step up as individuals, entrepreneurs, commercial businesses, organizations, ranchers, community leaders, to go online at Support Northwest Colorado and StandWithTrapper.com, providing your comments to the Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Environment. Together, we can and we will stand up, continue to provide clean coal technology while mining coal and keeping the lights on. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Commissioner Chuck Groden.
Thank you, Mayor Beck. I couldn't agree more with that. It is vital that we get our story outside the valley, to the state, and on to Washington, D.C. It's very important to get that message out. As you all need to do is look back to last summer, what a great come together our community was. We stood up as one and came out against the supporting Colorado and in the decision that the judge had come out against us with. And we can make a difference. We showed that we could make a difference last summer. So we need to stay diligent in that task. We need to keep moving in that direction. The community came together, participated in the process, and made a difference. We didn't sit back and hope for the best. We stepped out and we made the people listen to what we had to say. It's vital that we continue to tell our story. In addition to serving as County Commissioner, I'm also on the Air Quality Control Commission. And I see that the lack of knowledge about coal-fired generation and its importance not only to Northwest Colorado, but also to the state of Colorado. Believe me, there are many groups and individuals who want to tell a different story about the Craig Station, about the mining operations that help support it. If we remain silent, that's the only story that will be told. We can make a difference by taking an active role in what's going on. We're going to learn more tonight about the public comment period for both Colorado and Trapper. We need to participate in this process. There's going to be thousands of people from outside the region that are going to be taking part in this process also. These people know nothing about these mines, the people that work there, or the community that they support. We need to show OSM that we can continue to mine responsibly and protect the environment. I think we all know that the stakes are high. Mining and power plant, along with hunting and agriculture, are the backbone of Moffat County. Mayor Beck already provided some economic data for the plant and the mines. And I want to reiterate that if we remove these jobs and the revenues, our schools, our roads, our hospitals, the county, other services will be devastated by the loss of revenue. But like we did last summer, we need to tell our story and participate in the process, and we can make a difference. And I know this county, and we will. So let's move to the reason we are here, to hear from the folks at Trapper and Colorado. I now introduce Rick Gordon, Chairman of the Tri-State Board of Directors.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it. It's an honor for me to be here today, or tonight. On behalf of the Tri-State Board of Directors, I want to thank you all for being here tonight, and yet again showing your considerable support for our employees at the mines. I also want to thank our Colorado, Trapper, and Tri-State employees that are in the room tonight. The Tri-State Board recognizes the tremendous hard work that you do every day and the dedication you give to our organization. We're very proud of how you're able to maintain reliable operations year after year while having an exemplary safety and environmental record. You have our full support and commitment. We appreciate that. We do also have at least 2 directors from our board that are here tonight as well to show support. The Tri-State Board is committed to the continued use of coal and the reliable, affordable energy that it does provide to our members. We know this is going to be a challenge as the nation moves to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and increase costs to replace or minimize the amount of fossil fuels used in producing electricity. While we may not be able to operate the same way we have in the past, I am confident that we will be able to meet those challenges for several reasons. First and foremost is the incredible support we receive from the community, like we have from you this last summer and then again here tonight. It's vital. If we are going to meet those challenges, we need to have all of you standing with us and supporting our efforts. We can't do it alone. Second, we continually invest in our operations. All of our plants are well controlled and efficient. They produce low-cost electricity. Our mines are award-winning for environmental stewardship and reclamation. When decisions are made on the plants and the mines, the Tri-State Board looks to continue our operations and have strong arguments for why our resources, our power plants and our coal mines should be the best choice for the environment as we move forward for not only the ratepayers and the communities, but the communities that you also reside in as well. And thirdly and lastly, we will continue to improve. We invest heavily in research and believe that technology will meet many of the challenges that we are currently facing. As an example, the Tri-State Board is helping assist funding a test center in Wyoming that will conduct cutting-edge research on finding a commercial use for carbon dioxide and ways to capture it. Technology has solved many of our challenges that we've had in the past, and I believe that will be a major accomplishment in the future to have technology solve some of our carbon dioxide issues that we're currently facing. So while we know we will have challenges in the future, we also know that with your continued support and continued investment in our operations and the promise of technology, we can continue to take them on. So what is the current challenge that is facing us tonight? As you've heard, Trapper and Colorado are both working through environmental assessments on their operations. Trapper is responding to a court order to complete a new environmental assessment for their current operations. Colorado is trying to obtain a permit to continue future operations as we go forward. I will let others describe the processes, but I want to emphasize that Tri-State is members to use both mines as a source of fuel for Craig Station. Both mines are equally important to Tri-State's future, and I know they are both equally important to this community. So it's critical that you participate in both the public comment processes, not just for one, but for both of those. In closing, we do appreciate everything that this community has done for us and do for us. Your support, your involvement, and your energy has been tremendous, and we really appreciate that. Again, I want to thank you for your support of the Trapper, Colorado, and all the Tri-State employees. I truly believe we will get through this challenge and then move on to the next one. Next, I'm going to introduce Mr. Jim Adder, the mine manager Trapper. But before I do that, I want to thank Jim for his leadership and dedication to running an exceptional operation. Tri-State is a member owner of Trapper and has the same high expectations from the mine as it does for all of our operations. Jim and the Trapper employees have always met or exceeded those expectations with their award-winning safety and reclamation projects. Jim?
Thank you very much, Rick, and thank you also, Mayor Beck and Commissioner Roby. The leadership in this community has been phenomenal, remarkable participation by the leaders of this community, the commissioners and other business leaders. They get it, they understand what these mines mean to the economy of Northwest Colorado and the state. To all of you, our friends, and the community at large here, we thank you for standing in the time that we're going through. It started with a public meeting back last October 29th in the art sculpture process. You all were there in spades and made wonderful comments, and you made a great showing, and we're very thankful for that. We're going down the home stretch now. We have one more final opportunity to let the federal government know how we feel about our mines. It's an incredibly important time for Trapper. As Rick mentioned, we're under a court-ordered environmental assessment exercise. It's very important that we get this done timely and have a huge amount of support. So this is our final opportunity to do that. So what does Trapper mean to the community? Well, for one, it means really good paying jobs for 180 plus employees. These employees are highly skilled, devoted folks that have an opportunity to provide for their families using their skills. And so Trapper provides that opportunity, and we're lucky to have the employees that we do have. That means a sterling record of environmental stewardship. Trapper and its employees have won prestigious awards over the years for reclamation excellence. Our mine is literally a magnet for wildlife in the reclamation areas. Those of you that have been out there can attest that that is absolutely the truth. No one cares more about the environment than Trapper's employees. They've chosen to live here and raise their families and children in this valley. So naturally, they're going to be the ones that really care about clean air, clean water, and a clean environment. They've chosen that. They're proud of their record in that regard. Trapper also means commitment to the community. Mr. Beck went over some of the statistics on economic impacts Trapper has to the community. I won't repeat those numbers, although I do know what they are. But there is a significant impact to the community that Trapper provides. But beyond that, there's the volunteerism and the community outreach efforts that we do. Many employees at Trapper serve on boards. They coach kids' sports. They get involved in 4-H. They're vital, integral parts of the Northwest Colorado community. And then more broadly, the people at Trapper provide low-cost energy to West and to people that use the power from Craig Station. It's a clean, reliable, affordable alternative. Trapper means something. I'm into my 33rd year at Trapper, and I'm almost a newbie there. That's how stable the organization is. It really means something to the vast majority of the people at Trapper to be a part of something that special and that good. And we need to send that message and relay that message to folks in Washington and to the OSM. And even as an effort to engage people about coal in general, just do that as a matter of course. So I'm here to remind you, if you have an opportunity to submit comments on Trapper's EA as well as Colorado's EA tonight, there's an opportunity to do that. You can also submit comments electronically using either of two websites. There's the Stanley's Trapper website. If there's not a link to the Colorado site on there yet, there will be by tomorrow. And then, of course, there's the Support Northwest Colorado website that also accesses both EA comment areas. So, as Rick mentioned, it's very important to comment on both EAs. Just because you comment on one doesn't mean you finish. Both of these mines are vital to the community. So please comment on both. Using either of those, you can also write letters, I believe, to OSM. If you have any questions on how to make comments, contact me or anybody at Trapper. We have folks out in the library that can help you and direct you, but by all means, please make comments, and we can assist you with comments as well. If OSM approves this EA, if they sign the funds and approve the mine plan, Trapper will have sufficient reserves available to mine at least 9 more years. If this does not get approved, then there's a very high probability Trapper will suffer a premature shutdown of its operations. So it's just vitally important for you folks in the entire community. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and make sure you yourself become engaged and send substantive, good comments to OSM. On behalf of Trapper, I just want to thank you for standing with us through this process. It's been quite an odyssey for all of us, dating back to last summer when we had the whole thing started. This community's been remarkable and supportive of this industry, and we thank you very much for that. And there are folks from Trapper's team here. If you have questions, if you want to ask after we go through this part of the program, we're happy to answer questions about our EA. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Rick.
Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate that. Next up is Chris McCourt, who is the mine manager at Colorado Mine. Like Jim, Chris manages an exceptional operation, and Colorado is also the award-winning mine for safety programs and reclamation projects. We bought the Colorado Mine back, the price they did back in 2011, and we had a board meeting out there last August for Western Coast, Colorado, or Colorado Mine Board, and looking at where we're at today, and it's just amazing to me that the changes and all the positive, good things you've done for reclamation and cleaning up that site. It's just, it's like you're not in the same place as it was when we first took it over. So I commend you for all of the hard work and dedication that you've done the last 4 years. Chris has done an amazing job too as manager of that mine. And it's obvious that without him, he faced a serious crisis last summer. And without his leadership in going through this process that Trapper's going through right now, I'm not sure that we would have had the same results. So Chris, we appreciate your efforts. Chris?
Thanks, Mr. Gordon. I want to echo your and Jim's appreciation of the support of this community and the elected officials. Last summer, we faced the same issue that Trapper's now. As we worked through the issues facing the mine, our employees were very concerned and there was a lot of uncertainty. But the one thing that gave them comfort was knowing that the community rallied around us. They were not alone, and that was very important to know because it was a really challenging time, and we really appreciate all that support. Now, ultimately, we satisfied the court, and we were able to continue our operations. We hope that Trapper has the same result. For now, we are back to normal operations and continue to make deliveries to Craig Station. I say for now because in 2020 we will exhaust the current coal reserves that we have permitted at Colorado. As many of you know, legal challenge forced the Office of Surface Mining to delay the approval process for the Column Development Project, which would allow access to coal leases we have in another area of the mine. If approved, Column Development would allow us to continue to mine beyond 2020 and ensure a long-term fuel source for the Craig Station. The Column Development is projected to provide access to about 80 million tons of coal. Depending on the production rate of the mine, this could mean at least 20 plus years of production. As we work to mine that coal, we will continue our ongoing reclamation process at our current operation where we're at now. In the past, we've been able to produce excellent reclamation that has provided big game habitat, area for wild birds. It's just been very successful reclamation. We've been recognized by both industry peer groups and regulatory agencies for this outstanding reclamation. The project will be conducted on approximately 2,700 acres of largely Colorado-owned lands that are situated above federal coal reserves that the Bureau of Land Management issued to us in 1982 and 2007. Historically, the development in Colorado Oil Mine has occurred in phases that were planned when the BLM granted the leases originally. Operation of the mine has seen the development of the East Pit, West Pit, and where we're currently mining, which is the South Taylor Pit. Now, Column will just be the next extension of the mine, and that's what it is. It's just the next step of progress towards continuing to mine coal. To date, the East and West pits have been completely mined and are in various stages of reclamation. The South Taylor Pit will be again completed in 2020, and the Column area is planned to be that next development phase. To access this new area of the mine, we need to revise our current mining plan. In 2013, Colorado obtained approval for the Column development from the Colorado Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety. Now, even though we have that state approval where there are federal coal reserves involved, we are subject to the National Environmental Policy Act, or as most people know, NEPA, and this requires the completion of an environmental assessment by OSM. Since 2013, Colorado has been working with the OSM on the completion of this EA for this federal permit. On January 19th, OSM initiated a public comment process to solicit the public's perspective on that EA. This is the EA that we are asking the community to review and submit comments. At this point, I want to introduce Doug Lemke, who is managing our efforts with OSM to develop the EA for Tri-State. Doug also successfully managed our efforts with OSM in response to the court order last summer. Doug will explain the public comment process and OSM's plan to comply with the rule. Doug has broad experience in the environmental arena and has been working on issues for Colorado since 2012. As background, Doug has been at Tri-State for 5 years and has assisted the company on some of the organization's most critical issues. Prior to joining Tri-State, Doug served as the director of the Air Quality Control Commission at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. His knowledge of the issues, along with his background in the private sector and as a regulator, make him a good choice to lead this project. Before I turn it over to Doug, I want to thank you all again for the support over this last year. To Colorado, to our employees and our families. It has been amazing to see the community come together and rally around us, and we are very appreciative.
Thanks, Chris. As Chris mentioned, the Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement is conducting an environmental assessment under the provisions of the National Environmental Policy Act. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a quick overview of that process, but keep in mind it can be fairly lengthy and extensive. The National Environmental Policy Act and its implementing regulations govern how and what federal agencies look at when they analyze environmental impacts for any action that has what's called a major federal component. It also directs how federal agencies provide opportunities for members of the public to review and participate in the assessment of those impacts. That's what we're here to talk about tonight. The process of developing an environmental assessment is just about the same for all projects that are out there. The federal agency gets an application, it does some upfront analysis, then it publishes a notice to let you all know that it's considering the project and possibly going to approve it. The agency provides an opportunity for members of the public to give it input on the upfront side to get a better idea of what the community thinks is important, and then they go about doing their, go off and do their analysis. Sometimes they hold a public meeting to solicit that comment, sometimes they don't. In the case of Trapper, a few months ago you saw that kind of public meeting. In the case of the Column development at the Colorado mine, you saw that kind of meeting back in 2013 in November. Some of you might remember that. After that, the agency goes about doing their assessment. They draft a document and they put it out for public review. This is kind of where we're at in the process right now with the Trapper mine and the Column development. After considering the public's input, the agency is going to make a few changes to the document and finalize it. And then we will make a determination on whether or not there's a significant impact to the environment. If there isn't, they'll sign off on something called a finding of no significant impact, or a FONSI. If there is, they will move on to what's called an environmental impact statement, and there'll be a whole lot more analysis that Right now, we're in the process of the public comment period at the end of the OSM environmental assessment for both below the Colorado mine and for the Trapper mine. The Colorado mine's column EA came out on January 19th, and that public comment period closes on February 18th. And the Trapper mine EA came out on January 25th, and that public comment period closes on February 19th. So I'd like to encourage you all to take a moment and consider the information that the agencies have put out there for public comment. There is an opportunity to make public comment now. There are folks in the lobby that can help you do that, and we would encourage you to take a few minutes and consider that. That's really about it for the process. Again, I wanted to give just a quick overview of that. Every comment that the agency gets will be counted in the end and recorded. And I think that's really about it. We'll be available for questions after this. And now I'm going to turn it over to Tri-State's Chief Executive Officer, Mike McGinnis, to wrap up our
Thank you all for coming. I'm always a little moved when I see the kind of concern and support that a community such as this one puts forward in times of difficulty, and certainly when something is so threatening to, as has been mentioned, the way of life that I'm sure you all enjoy, and that certainly provides the great things that we all enjoy in reliable and affordable power. You know, just because you say something a lot of times doesn't make it less true, and you're going to hear some things from me that are redundant to those that have been said already tonight. But we cannot express to enough degree the appreciation that we have for you as a community, the community leaders here, for the actions that you've taken and the support that you've provided during these difficult times. I certainly agree with Mayor Beck and Commissioner Groby. We have not told our story very well. And one of the things that has been very heartening to me is the reception of the We Can effort that is going on right now. And that has been mentioned. It's easy when a problem arises to band together and to do the things that need to be done. It's a little more difficult to keep that activity up, tell your story all the time instead of being reactive, be proactive and get those messages out. The difficulty comes that if you don't do that, then each time an incident arises, we end up having to tell the story again and why it relates to that particular situation. So I'm going to tell you just a quick story that I think illustrates that point, and I'll use it during the remainder of my comments. There's a fellow walking down the street, and all of a sudden, out of an alley come two muggers. They wrestle this guy to the ground, and I'm telling you, he is fighting as if it were for his life. He was thrashing, hitting, and it was just about all these two muggers could do to get him subdued. And when they did, they went through his pockets and they found 50 cents. And one of them said to him, "Are you just crazy? You mean you were fighting this hard for 50 cents? And he said, "Well, I didn't know it was the 50 cents. I thought it was the $50 I had in my shoe." Our message sometimes is viewed by others as this 50-cent thing. It's not of any worth. It doesn't make a difference. But I'm telling you, what we have does make a difference in the world. It makes a difference in the lives of people, just like you and I. And we've got to remember that our message is that $50. We've got to continue to fight, just as we have in the past, to make sure that others recognize that as well. As we go forward, I think we will have plenty of challenges before us. And I think we're going to spend time over these next years trying to educate people outside of this community of how important the work that you do here is to provide energy for this part of the western United States, and certainly for the rest of the country. Unfortunately, the great work that you do each day can be largely thankless in the minds of many people. They take the things that we provide for them for granted, and so we're going to have to remind them of that important part that you play. Mayor Beck mentioned several challenges: the Clean Power Plant, this continued onslaught on the mining of coal, the attack on oil and gas and coal being mined on federal land. Clearly, these are things that we will continue to face, and we will not win on all of those issues. What we are trying to do is to get to the policy folks, make sure that they understand the ramifications of decisions that they make sure they understand that when they make these things, it affects the lives of people. And as has been mentioned several times tonight, we believe that electricity generated by coal will continue to play a part in this nation as well as the world. And we want them to understand that if there are going to be power plants and coal mines that are needed, that we have them right here in this valley. These two mines, the Craig Station, should be the winners after this is all said and done. Now, as we build this effort to make sure our story continues to get told over and over so that people are familiar with it, we clearly do have this one matter here at hand. We cannot look past this mark. We're going to have to deal with what we are dealing with today. There are a number of things that we talk about that didn't go as well as we wanted, that we would improve, but there's no doubt the effort by all of you, elected officials, folks at the OSM, all have been very instrumental in what we've been able to accomplish. As Doug mentioned, we've got some things we would like you to do. I still recall at the last meeting, an individual in the audience, and I will always appreciate that, said, well, are you asking us to do something? Well, yes, we were. And we are asking you again tonight. Submit your comments on both the Call Wild and Trapper EA. As Doug mentioned, it's important that you do both. In fact, several people mentioned that. We want you to do both. And if that site doesn't prompt you automatically, go look for the other one. Continue to share your story. Post these videos that you've seen here tonight and other information on your Facebook page. Write letters to the newspapers. They make a difference when you speak up. And for you mine, and we've got a few power plant employees here in the room, you need to continue doing the great work that you're doing. Be safe in your work. Make sure that you are being compliant with rules and regulations. You have a great record of doing that, and just from recent inspections, we know that you have achieved great things. But if we let our guard down, and we have some sort of a violation, a safety incident, we have an accident of some kind, it can derail the message. Now we add to those folks that they see there's yet another reason why we shouldn't be mining coal. There's yet another reason why we shouldn't be using coal to generate electricity. Keep doing the great work that you're doing. Don't give them any excuses for coming against us. I'm getting old, I can't remember all the things I want to say. There's another group of people that I certainly want to thank, and I don't know if they're in the audience tonight, but I don't want to overlook them either. The folks at the Office of Surface Mining, these folks have really stepped up to the challenge. Now, I don't know if some of you had some of the thoughts that I harbored when we started down this path. Well, after all, this is the federal government. What can we expect from them? But I'm telling you, they worked hard. They did their duty. They looked up the statistics. They did the analysis, and it was thorough, and it ended up with a good result. And I think most of all, I feel in this process they were fair and they were honest through the process. Now, I had entertained just for a moment to ask if there were anyone here in the audience from OSM, but then I thought, well, that might be a little intimidating to them, and even if they were here, they might not want to stand up. So could I just ask each one of you to join me in a round of applause for those hardworking people who helped us get where we are today. I do want to echo what Chairman Gordon said. There are many challenges in front of us, but with the kind of support and help that you continue to provide, we feel confident that we will be able to face those, and we will be confident, we are confident as well, that we will be able to win many of those issues. So thanks again for coming tonight. I'm going to turn this back over to Mayor Beck, see if we can answer some of you good folks' questions. Mayor?
Let's give our panelists another round of applause. As elected officials, both county and city, both in Ralph, Moffat, Rio Blanco, Garfield County, Mason County, honorary members like Delta and Montrose. We are members of an organization called Associated Governments of Northwest Colorado. A number of us met with Dr. Larry Wolk a couple of weeks ago down in Rifle, and the question was asked, and we were there to address the Clean Power Plan. And he made the comment that coal will continue to be part of the national and state energy plan. And I thought that was hopeful. Now, to what extent, we don't know yet. And so we're going to continue to fight and keep up the battle, if you will. But I also invited Dr. Wolk over here to Craig. He's apparently supposed to be here around, I believe it's March 16th, for another community outreach meeting, and he's agreed to tour Trapper Mine and the power plant here in Craig. So I think that's a good sign. Before we get started, just a couple of rules. We thought we'd open this up to some Q&A from the audience. And Terry Carwell, we've got some people that are going to use the microphones that we can hand down the aisle. Is Terry in here? Or out in the lobby if he's out there? Okay. Perfect. And so what I'd like to do is raise your hand, you'll be recognized, and keep your questions short, if you would. And then that way it gives everybody an opportunity, if they so desire, to ask questions as well. And so we're scheduled to go to 7:30. If we run to 7:30 and we haven't answered everybody's questions, you'll have opportunity to meet with these individuals up here on the stage, out in the lobby, after the 7:30 hour. So. Thank you. Okay, we'll open it up, and if you have a question of anybody on the panel, now is your opportunity. Don't all of you raise your hands at once. There's one up there. How are you, Shirley?
Every business in the United States will have to raise their prices to compensate for higher electric bills. Every item they buy or use for their businesses will also go up because their suppliers will go up too. Everything we use in our daily lives will go up. Heck, the Dollar Tree in Craig will have to be renamed the $2 store, the $2 tree. Will your household be able to handle all these extra expenses? Will the seniors that live on a fixed income be able to handle the extra expenses? I think not. Whole pipe products are valuable too. People don't think about those. Without coal byproducts, we don't have asphalt to pave our highways. Electrical insulation is a byproduct of coal, along with briquettes, medicine, street lighting, synthetic rubber, laughing gas, perfumes, makeup, and a lot of other items we use every day. So, we, as in you, your friends, your family, all need to educate people on the pros of coal. But keep it simple. Every time you see an article on Facebook, write a letter, share it, do all that. Send us the last night we spoke. And write letters to your congressmen and women. Write articles for different newspapers in different towns. Because there's a whole bunch of people that are in the same boat we are. France, New Mexico, Utah, Gillette, Wyoming, and then the other ones in the east. If you have friends in those states, sign their support their cause. Yeah, help me out here, guys. I didn't know this was like that. Get out there and spread the word. Educate the public because, like I said, people in the big cities don't know that their coal or their lights and their microwaves and their TV come from coal. They just think it's going to automatically always be there. Tell them how it'll hurt their pocketbooks, their social activities, their families, and the things they do every day. Just start up a Zoom conversation. I go everywhere and I just say, do you believe coal is good for our community and whatever. I've been to Vernal, Denver, all over the place. Ask them, when you flip that switch to your lights, do you know where the electricity comes from? And inform them that the electricity they use every day to complete their chauffeurs comes from coal. Simple as that. Don't be argumentative, aggressive, or all any of that. Just state the facts. Have a nice friendly conversation. And don't be complacent when all these comment sheets come out. Sign them for every single mine. And every time another one comes out, sign those too, so that everybody will know. And just don't sign your name, put a nice comment on there. And if you need some comments, I'll come help you. I don't know. That's it.
Thank you, Shirley. Any other questions or comments? Here we go. Mrs. Moe.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here. I'm sorry, I get emotional. I own a hotel. My husband and I own a hotel here. And yes, we understand how devastating increases in our electric can be. Right now, in January alone, we run about $5,000 a month in electricity. We have put all state-of-the-art equipment in our hotel, all the energy savings paraphernalia that you can get. We're a green key, 4-key property. So we do all the things that we're supposed to do. We do our due diligence, but we still have the reality that we have expensive bills. When I think of this whole issue with coal, I've got family that live in big cities all across the United States. I've got 5 older brothers. None of them seem to understand the importance of coal. I thought I was smart enough to educate them, but I'm failing in getting through to them. But what I found with all of us is education is the key. And somehow, I think, for a lot of people out there, we almost have to hold them by the hand and educate educate them and tell them how things work. Now, probably most of us in this room have been to a museum at one time or another and have learned how different things work, how things have been developed, how things have been processed, how they grow. One of the most fascinating exhibits I ever saw was at the Field Museum in Chicago, and it was on the evolution of the toilet. Now, we all have a toilet in our house, but probably most of us don't know the intricacies of how it actually works. Now, I'm not comparing our energy to a toilet by any means, except for the fact it is as necessary, if not more so. We need heat, we need electricity. Now, I'm asking you gentlemen, help us find a way to establish maybe two things. One, a coal museum here. Let's show people the evolution of coal, the kind of coal that we have, the high BTU, low sulfur coal. Let's explain it to them. And let's have perhaps a mini mock-up of our power plant. I remember back when I was on the tourism board, when I felt it was very important to have an office so that people that visit our area, we do get a lot of visitors here. We're either energy or tourism and agriculture. So people are naturally very inquisitive of what makes our economy work here. Now, we have, in my business, in the hotel business, every day I get people from all over this country. And probably every month I get people from all over the world that stay at my property. One of the first questions they ask is, what's that big building up there on the hill? What is that? Is there any way through a museum, through, I think Tri-State, when they built, actually had a mini model of mock-up of the building. Can we start showing people? Can we start advertising tours? Can we have a museum that explains coal, how it works, why our coal is so good, why it's so necessary? It's almost like a show and tell. So many adults, when it comes to this kind of stuff, have less than an elementary education on the evolution of coal and power. A lot of people just think their heat comes from the furnace. They don't think beyond that. Just the same way they think their groceries come from the store. They don't think beyond that. We need to educate the public out there. And with our business and seeing so many tourists, so many of them ask information about the coal mines, the power plant, the drag lines. They don't know what all those things are. They're as foreign to them as the deer running through our parking lot. They want to know more. Let's teach them. Let's be the center. I mean, we have, in my mind, probably one of the best power plants in the world. But let's be a catalyst to teach people we've got this best thing up here on the hill that produces the best kind of electricity. We've got this clean air up here. Now I have to look, you see all these jet contrails, and I've had family in California that have never even seen a jet contrail. They didn't even know what it was. And that's the kind of environment they live in, but we don't live in that. We have what works. But let's show them we're going to have to take people by the hand and explain the evolution of coal and how it works, and have maybe a model of a power plant of how we take coal, how we process it, how we make energy, and how we sell it across the United States. Can we please have some fundamentals so it's so much easier for us to educate people to come here so that they understand your business, our business, so that we can give them a leg up. Education is the key. We're missing out on this. We need a way to start teaching people, yes, this is the good stuff, and let's show you how it works, because we're very proud of you guys. We're proud of what you do.
That's all right. I think we're getting the message there, Mrs. Moffat. Well, the panel would like to address Mrs. Mo's concern. I think he was talking about developing a museum and providing more tours and getting the word out and telling our story better. I will say that I did throw this challenge out along with what Terry was saying when we met out at Trapper Mine with Jim Matter. And I said to Jim, Jim, what's the largest lump of coal you've ever produced? And I got this really weird look, like, what? And I said, no, seriously, I'm going somewhere with this question. I said, you know, what would you think about producing the biggest lump of coal that we could possibly haul to the city of Craig, or somewhere where we have a lot where we could actually showcase what coal looks like when people come through Craig, Colorado, polish it up, make a memorial out of it, put lights, flagpole, benches, some plaques on there, giving some history about what coal is all about. And he looked at me and he says, you know, that's a good idea. And then there was other members of the staff as we were getting the tour of the Trapper that day, and the wheels actually started turning. So, you know, if Oak Creek, Colorado can do it, why can't Craig do it?
Mr. Beck, I might just make a comment. One of the Tri-State Board of Directors' strategic goals is affordability and awareness, and we've dedicated a lot of money in the last 5 years to trying to educate the general public about how valuable low-cost and reliable energy is, and we will continue to do that. I think in your community, that's probably a project. If there's something we can do somewhere along the way to help you, that's a good idea. But we're very concerned about it. We've started a program a few years ago to start educating elementary kids. We have a program to help do that. My wife was a second grade teacher until last year. She retired about 6 or 7 years ago. She brought over a Wrigley reader talking about global warming and all that stuff. And so I said, you know, we started talking about it, and we need to educate our young kids because some of them are getting the wrong education now. So we are trying to work on that. It is a goal that Tri-State's Board has, and our staff has worked very hard on that. It's an uphill battle, and we've got a long road to go. But it's a great comment. Thank you.
Earlier, I'd asked for people to stand that were elected officials representing our Tri-County region, and I got a note here that Commissioner Doug Munger from Rock County is here. So Doug, thank you for being here. Do you have any comments that you'd like to?
As Ray will know, it's hard to public servant. You always have the opportunity to talk. So I didn't have. No, I want to tell you that Rock County and the Rock County Commissioners are behind this effort. So goes the way of Trapper and Colorado. So goes the way of Peabody and 20 Mile Line as well. So we're behind you guys all the way, and we'll hopefully stick by with a good result. So thank you.
Thank you. I don't see a lot of hands up. If I give it to one, I should give it to other elected officials. I know we have some city council members in here and possibly some other commissioners. So if there's some comments you'd like to make at this point in time, this is a good time to do it. Howdy. What's that? Oh yes, stand and please say your name.
Hi, my name is Susan Hall. I'm in Senator Bennett's Grand Junction office. I've had the pleasure of meeting several of you over the last few months as the community has dealt with these issues. I must say it is just an extraordinary community of individuals and businesses. I also had the privilege of touring the Trapper Mine, and it was fascinating. So, good work, and I think it is exactly what you need to do is get in touch and state your views and communicate and persist. So, thanks.
Thank you for being here. When members of Club 20 went to Washington, D.C., we do that every other year on the odd years to meet with them. Yes? Hang on just a minute. So, we went to Washington, D.C. with a bunch of Club 20 members, and we had an opportunity to meet with our representatives out there, including Senator Bennett, Senator Cory Gardner, Congressman Tipton, Representative Polis. No, not Polis, it was anyway, I forgot who he was. But anyway, the point being is that this was about the same time, and it was a perfect timing thing when this EA came up on May 8th for Call Wild. And I actually had some coal stickers with me in my pocket, and I gave those representatives a coal sticker. And when I gave one to Senator Bennett, and they were small ones, they were like the ones you put on your lapel. And before it was over, before we actually left that session and having talked with our representatives, he got up and he went over and gave his coal sticker to Senator Cory Gardner. And I kind of thought, well, I wonder what that's all about. But at the end of the day, he did sign on with a letter along with his colleagues to Sally Jewell of the Department of Interior. So, thank you, and you can pass that on to him that we appreciate his efforts in support of coal. Okay, who has a question? We need a microphone over here. We got one. Hello?
I do have a question for you. I've noticed that, there is in the media, gas industry, they're out there on TV left and right. And I've never seen coal fight for itself on TV anywhere. I did see one a couple of years back where the Wyoming people, they went out to the mines and they stood up and they were proud of their industry and they fought for it. And I don't know, maybe the media won't back us up. Maybe we can't get on TV. I don't know what the answer is to that, but if it's money, God, I'll give you what I got. I mean, I think we do need to educate people, and that's a damn good way to do it. I think, is put it out there for people to see. And I don't see it. I haven't seen us fight for ourselves anywhere. I'm damn sure there's a lot of people here that would too. If it's money that you need.
Chances of getting on a platform is probably slim to none, but I can tell you with social media, we have several videos that have been produced over the last year. Eye of the Storm, the Perfect Storm. I just saw one today, 20 Mile Coal. They got a video that they produced, and it's on social media, and as you all know, that seems to be the wave of the future, and it gets a lot of attention. And maybe that's kind of what you're alluding to, but it doesn't cost a lot of money to put it on social media. I don't know what the chances are of getting it on a national news station, but I know one thing, based on what happened last year, we are known around this nation, and they do know what coal is, and they do know what it stands for. So, does anybody on the panel want to take a stab at that one?
Yeah, thank you very much. What you've said is really important, and we had that comment at the last meeting as well. I'll just refer back to what Chairman Gordon said. We have spent a lot of money over the last few years trying to do just what you've described.
We've been successful, marginally successful. I ran out of time with my mic. We have made a considerable effort doing that. So there's a couple of challenges that I'll, not to be defeatist or anything, but I'll just give you some of the challenges here. One is you've got to have someone who's willing to put that out. We are not big enough to control airwaves or sound waves, but we have made some inroads. We have found some markets who have done that. I think you were referring to the time that they came out and did some filming at Call Wild. At least that's one that I recall. Very well done. Got to show how people were proud of what they did. We've made some other videos in the recent past, but I don't want you to think that we are not fighting for this. When you take our world of coal-fired electricity, we are pretty small. And so any effort that we do is sort of surrounded by this more popular tone
prominent, more popular message. It hasn't stopped us, and we don't intend on stopping, but I want you to be confident that we are continuing to make those attempts. We have not given up.
I've got a comment on that too. This is me behind you.
Where is he at?
I want to make a plug for a couple of organizations that are very devoted to education and mining, and we all know we're late to the party. We see what the oil and gas industry has done to enhance their image in front of the public, and they've got a lot of money and they've got a lot of political clout. There's two organizations in particular that are very much behind an effort to do the very same thing. Not so much on network television, Jerry, but the Rocky Mountain Coal Mining Institute's been around since 1912. Its sole mission is to educate people about the use of coal and the importance of coal in the United States. They've become associated with the Friends of Coal, which is an outfit started in Kentucky that's very effective back east. I say they're effective, they're getting slaughtered out there, but still, there's a lot of forces, as Mike said, working against us right now. The other is the Colorado Mining Association Education Foundation. Those of you that have worked at the mines know that teachers have come around from time to time for tours. That was the big thing, was the Education Foundation was to teach teachers about mining and coal and to have them pass that on to their students. Students from all over the country used to come and do that. I see Ray Kirk in the audience. His wife did that, and she was very impressed with that. That format's been changed. That used to be classes that they had at the Colorado School of Mines for teachers. There was usually maybe 14 to 20 teachers involved. So it's gone to online format now. It's available worldwide to learn about mining. And so there's a huge effort. This just went online last year. There's a very huge effort to get that advertising out for that website to get people acquainted with the real story about mining and especially coal. So those things are going on. We are late to the party. I wish there was more we could do. And great point, Terry.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Here we go, right here.
I'm retired from Colorado, 32.5 years, proud of it. Part of the stigma, and I've noticed this over the years, behind coal mining is when Boulder, some of those places, all the Greenpeace and all those people make comments, they make a reference back to what happened back east, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, all those places that were not regulated back in the last century, and then the big holes in the ground, and nothing was reclaimed, or they weren't in charge of the environment. And that's part of the stigma behind what we're fighting as coal producers, that people think, well, they're digging a hole in the ground, they're just going to leave a big hole. Colorado and Trout are two of the most highly regulated environmental mines that I've ever, and I'm sure any recent mine is the same thing. And that's part of the stigma that we're fighting, is the fact that everybody thinks, well, they're going to dig a big old hole in this hole. Take a look at what small copper do for the environment. And that might, a little bit of an education to people in Boulder.
Thank you, sir. We have Commissioner Moore, and then we have a gentleman in the back. We're on the left.
I don't know about you, but I think there's a lot of pent-up energy here that needs to be released. I can do it, or you can do it at the end, but with your motto, yes we can, you gentlemen up there, before we leave tonight, lead us in a cheer. Let's get some excitement, let's get some positive vibes going, and let's say, yes we can. Will you please do that at the end of the show, and get these people up and cheering, and let's be positive.
Yes, we can. We can and we will. Thanks, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'd like someone to comment on the expansion of Caldwell. There are three alternatives. in their paperwork. Are we, as I understand it, are we backing alternative B, which is a little bit smaller thing than alternative A? Alternative C is shutting down and not going to column at all, as I read. So could someone comment on that?
You guys get that?
Yeah, I can respond to that. For the column EA, that's exactly right. Alternative A was a little bit larger design. Alternative B is a little bit smaller design, and alternative C is the no action alternative. And Tri-State and Colorado are supporting alternative B. B is in boy. Was there more to that question? I don't think so. Okay.
Did that answer your question? We have any more comments or questions? Okay, one here in the middle.
Good evening, thanks for coming. I've seen reports recently that Sally Jewell wants to slow down the permitting process. I mean, I'm here like 3 years to get a permit. I assume that since we're already in the EA process, that won't affect this problem or this procedure, or will it affect it, and can she actually slow it down?
You guys get that?
Yeah, on January 15th, the Department of Interior, Secretary Sally Jewell issued a effective moratorium on new coal leasing operations. Along with that came some exemptions. It also produced a couple of lists of leases that likely could or potentially could, I think was the way they framed it, go forward, and a set of leases that had just started that they said potentially could not. So there were several leases that they identified that would likely go forward. They fit within a set of exemptions that the Department of Interior laid out in the moratorium press release. They had identified the Colorado mine and as something that could go forward. The lease that's pending right now is actually what's called a lease modification. So that looks real good from that perspective. They also identified an exemption that NEPA analyses that are pending due to court actions, like Trapper, could also go forward. And so I think there is only one lease action or NEPA action that's pending due to a court action, and that is the Trapper mine. And so we feel pretty certain that that looks good. Obviously, we don't speak for the Department of the Interior, but it certainly looks pretty good from our perspective.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. I was wondering when you were going to do that one.
Which presidential candidate should we put our votes behind?
That's a good question. Probably all wondering the same thing. Any others? Next question? I think we're a little early to tell you, but the proof will come out. Okay, Naomi, thanks for being here. All the way from Rangeley.
Yeah, all the way from Rangeley. I did get pulled over, so your sheriff's department is really on it tonight. So. Thank you all for being here. I am very new to the whole coal situation, And I was wondering if there were any grant monies for an education marketing campaign. Who would be the person in charge of that?
Sorry, I missed part of the question. Could you just try that one more time?
Is there anyone of a marketing campaign for education, and is there any kind of dollar grants or any kind of other grant findings that can pay for that, or would that come out of pockets of the community?
That's a stumper. You know, that was one thing I was going to say during my little speech was we cannot ask any difficult questions. Won't be allowed. So I'm not aware of any of the kinds of things that you asked for. However, we've got some very competent people here with us. We'll take a note. We will do that research and we will make a point of getting that back to the mayor and to others so that we can provide that answer for you. I'm positive that there are efforts being done along those lines. I'm just not aware of what they might be. Now, before I release the microphone, I was hoping that Chairman Gordon would brag a little bit about this, but I'm guessing that we are one of the few, if not the only, electric utility in this country that has a great big giant coal lump out in its front door, and we do.
Any others? Pretty quiet bunch tonight. You guys, how did that go? We have to do it together. You ready? Okay, we can, and we will. Come on! Yes! Come on! There we go. Stand up, everybody. Come on, get up, stand up, and say we can. We can. We can, and we will. We'll not let us stand down. We will down. We'll stand up. I'm just going to give the panel, do you guys have any closing remarks? You guys good? Well, we want to thank you all for coming out. We encourage you to stop in the lobby. Please sign up for those OSM comments and submit them to tell your family, your friends, and your neighbors. We need all the support we can get, and thank you for coming out.